Hey everyone, thanks for joining Safra Education Experience Forum. Today we are live in Sydney. My name is Isabelle and I'm a Safra guest artist. I will show you today the Gypsy Goddess upstyle. It's a boho upstyle, and what I like on it, it's really diverse. So it's not just for bridals, it's also good for when you go to festivals, or if you have like a nice garden party, a birthday party. So it really depends on what kind of structure you use in the hair. You can do it a bit more glam, or you just can have it a bit more effortless. So I will show you today different versions of it, so you really can make it unique for your client. And please ask as many questions as you can think of. We are live here today. I will try to answer them all during the next hour. And if I can't get through it, I will go later to the Facebook page and answer them all. So today I have a beautiful model here. It's Joanna. So it's a really hands-on today. But what we did beforehand, I already prepped her hair a little bit. And I show you what I used. This is, and I talked last time about it in the prep set Don't Forget class. So her hair, the hair itself is quite fine, but it's blonde, so it already has a bit of a rougher surface. And so what I did beforehand was I used twice the Joy Whip, and then I used a little bit of the Blonde Life Serum at the mid-ends and mid-length and ends. And to finish it all up, I just went through the sections with the Heat Hero to have a heat protection. So if you want to have a bit more knowledge about prepping and setting, I think it's still in the Facebook group. So that's I did it before just for the hair dryer, so it's not too noisy. And the next thing, what we're going, so we can start straight away with the setting. And with the setting technique, I have here a little sheet. Maybe you just can come closer here. So what we're going to do, because it's a bun up style, so I really want to create volume at the back. So here we're going to go horizontal, horizontal downwards to create a great volume in a 90-degree angle. And here on the front, I have a little bit of a triangle sectioning. And what you can have here, with the triangle sectioning, you can have actually a little bit of this glam sweep in the front. What we are doing today is a rope twist. So you can do both with the sectioning. So I think it's great, if you want to have more the glam, you do this little sweepy. Otherwise, we're going to twist just to challenge us a little bit more. And in the neck, I'm just creating a ponytail, section it into two, and this is a time saver for you, so you don't have section it all, because we're going to create a bun. So the easiest and quickest way to do it is just you start with a ponytail, and then you just gonna curl this a little bit. So, and I would say let's get started straight away. So you saw already the Heat Hero here, and so if I come now to the sectioning, here in the front, like in this on the picture, I had a really straight sectioning, but I think it depends on the thickness of the hair. Sometimes it can be also really nice if you're just gonna go a little bit, just can you also come around to see that? Just do a little bit of a zigzag, so you don't really see the line. So we just go behind the ears here. So that's our sectioning. So I just have a little bit of a zigzag, so I can't really see the line here. That's a little tip. And I will do that on the other side as well. And then you need to decide how deep do you want to have your parting. So you also can go with the parting a little bit deeper. Then the section just comes a bit bigger here. But I just have a small part here in the front, as you can see. So, and then the next thing we are going to do is just on the nape area. So here I'm just doing a straight one, straight line, and have here hair out in the nape area. So. Clip it away so it's not in your way. And here now, what I told you before, time saver, just do a ponytail. If you do a ponytail, there are different options. So you can either do the ponytail a little bit higher, and then you can create more a round bun, or you do the ponytail a little bit more in the lower area or mid area, so it's more like a teardropping bun. So I really like to have a little bit more tear shape, so mine is going to be kind of in the middle, not too high. So with blonde hair, I would always use either like a lighter hairband or a see-through hairband like this one. The same with the bobby pins. Try to use golden ones or lighter ones. So here we have our little ponytail, and first thing what we're going to do is I split it in two. So I would just split it in 2 streaks, comb it through, use my curling wand, bring it around. And it depends how thick the hair is here as well. So there would be also the option to divide it in 3 streaks, but with her hair, I think 2 is definitely enough. And I would just clip it. So another thing is when you have the curls, when they're still hot, and I would just let them drop, they would completely lose the shape, or they wouldn't be they wouldn't have so much volume really, they would just lose their shape. So it's always really important, as long as it's hot, the curl, you just clip it away. So now we're coming here to our top, and I just try to make space. So here what I'm always do, I will see, okay, where's her parting? So if you have the hair, you comb it backwards, you just use your fingers and you just open it so you see her parting is quite in the middle. Because we don't want to have any parting, what I'm going to do is I'm deciding this is my first section. So I'm just gonna, sorry. First of all, what we're gonna do, and that's what I'm doing now, is I'm gonna clip the sides away so they're really out of my way. So I'm not gonna get here in trouble with all the hair. So I'm just gonna use a little pin, clip it away. Yeah, because otherwise, you section it so nicely and then it's gonna be all over the place. So we don't want that. So now we can work better. So yeah, I just open it so it's parting here, and I don't want any parts here. So that's why this is gonna be my first section. So I combine actually from each side the hair. Then we're going 90 degrees. 90 degrees is you put your comb, because the head is round always, so kind of where's 90 degrees. You actually, even here on the top, you could over direct it a little bit, so it really comes on top of the curl comes on top of your section. And I'm not going to twist it, so I just bring it around, make sure the ends are in.
Oh, we have a question.
Yay! So,
do you put bobby pins in grip side or grip side down? The waist side, I mean.
For the bobby pins, so we can, I will just save this question for later, Susanna. Can you just remind it? Because this is a great question later when I do the, when I actually use the bobby pins to do the up style. So I can show you something. And I don't want to, yeah, I will show you this in a second, how much hair. And so in general, use the grip side on the bottom. So, but I will explain you more on that just in a second. Because there's also a trick to it, so how much hair you can use in the bobby pin.
We also have another question
Yes.
coming in. Is there a certain type of brand of hair elastics that you recommend that you find works better?
Yeah, I use different ones. I wouldn't go for the cheapest. Usually the same with the bobby pins. I found sometimes you really can see the quality, like that they always break quite easily. And I always get a mixed package. So what I have here is glitters, is it called, and they just have different sizes. So I really like to have something where you have different sizes, different colors. And then there is another thing which is great. It's called bungee tape, and this is just holding on itself, so it glues on itself. So it's like a tape. You just put it around the hair, and it will stick to itself. So this is something great, especially if you, for example, do higher ponytails or ponytails with a lot of volume, and it has to hold a lot of hair. So that's called bungee tape. So that's also something what I use. But if it's just for, little things like that, yeah, these are great. Yeah. So as you can see, I always use my pin curl clips to clip it. And what I would do is, or what I suggest you guys to do is, don't clip it on the outside, because when it's hot, it will create marks on your hair. So I always try to clip it from the inside and not on the outer surface, because that's something you can see. What else? Yeah. Here, what I'm doing now as well, it's kind of a brickwork. So I am always filling in gaps. And meaning by that, and I will show it. So here you have the first one, the first curl, and then I wouldn't go now straight the line down. I always try to fill in gaps in terms of where's the next parting. So the next one would be probably around here, because then it's going to be easier to close gaps. If you have a whole line downwards, the same parting downwards, it's going to be super hard for you later on to actually get rid of this parting. So in this case, try to go for brickwork, filling in the gaps. It's like a little puzzle here what we are doing. And also this is something you could do, for example, with hot rollers as well. So this is it depends what you feel comfortable with, but especially what we're doing here with this, just setting it backwards. Hot rollers is a great option too. You also can use a smaller curling one. It's just, in this case, it's not really needed, a smaller one. So, if you have a bigger one, a bigger curling one, you can get more hair in your section, because you always have the section the same size than your curling one. So, that's why I think, if it's not needed, why giving myself more work to it. And then another thing is, and that's something what I said before, you can go more for a glam version, you can go a bit more effortless. So in case I want to have it like more festival, more birthday party, or someone wants to have more beachy style, beachy kind of hair. So what you can change it up here already is, instead of creating more like a straight surface, you can use.
And we have another question as well. Duncan is asking, what temperature do you have your tongue set at?
Well, this is 180 degree. I think, you know, mostly they go to 230 or even higher. And I mean, with our Heat Hero, it's great because it will protect the hair. But I feel like 180 is actually enough to really form the curl. So I always go with 180 instead, or the only time when I don't do it would be if someone has super frizzy hair and you know it's like I actually have to straighten the surface a lot. Maybe then I would use a bit higher, but 180 is it's definitely fine for it. And especially because we prepared the hair already with the mousse and with all the products, we have this crispy feeling of it. And yeah, what I wanted to say before was, so now we're creating more a straighter surface, so it's going to be a bit more glammy. But if you are going for beach style, what you could do instead of setting all of this backwards, you can use a smaller curling one and actually really creating little curls and go instead of horizontal, going vertical next to each other. So then you know you have like these small waves, which looks beautiful. And that's also an option. So if you want to have something a bit more casual, or someone wants to have like a beachy hair, it's a beach wedding maybe, go for that, you know. That's also really beautiful. It's definitely a little bit more work because smaller curling one, you have to, yeah, it takes a bit longer. So just have this in mind when you calculate your time. So, and now what I'm doing here in the front is now I'm going a bit vertical, and I always think, you know, if you go from the crown and you just do the head a little bit like cake, like cake slices, that's how you also know like in what kind of angle you go. You know, you just go a little bit like this would be your cake slices, and that's how I remember where to go. So this is a good little tip to know where to go. And here as well, you can go middle part, side part, go for whatever your client suits or what she likes. And always make sure that when you have a curling iron, what I have, don't close it in the front, because if I would close it in the front, again, I have a mark here, and that's something we want to avoid. And here, you know, you already can see how crispy it is. So that's amazing later to work with.
We have one question from Facebook.
Yes.
Do you use the same size tongue for this style, or can you change it?
You can change it. I mean, I think this one here, what I have is now 3.2 millimeter. As I said before, you know, it's just because we're gonna twist all of that. It just needs a bit of movement, and I don't need a small curl. But you definitely also can go for a smaller curling one, and yeah, it's just then you can take less hair in your section. So this is the only. It's not a trouble, but it just, yeah, it takes a bit longer then. And I think if you don't need it, why going smaller? I like to work quick, especially in the salon. You know, sometimes you don't have the time. So always think if it is really necessary, like what do you need? What's the result at the end, and if you really need it. And if you have like little, especially with the boho things, you know, when you have these little streaks out in the front and doing these, you can go with a smaller curling tongue into it later on as well. Like if you feel, you know, if you want to move around the face to frame the face a little bit, then, you know, you could use a different size. But for now here, we don't really need it too much. So And here we do exactly the same. So I go, maybe I can turn you around a little bit so Sandra can film it a little bit better. So you can see it from here. So we do exactly the same, cake slices, just, and here's a little bit baby hair. So always, yeah, try to bring them in when you do, so try to melt them in as well. And I just do this when I go up and down. I melt them a little bit in the shape I like. And then I close it, because again, you don't want to close them in the front. Then you can have the trouble with marks. And I always feel if it's hot enough, and so then I know if the hair, like not hot enough, but if I feel the hair is warm, I know I can take off my curling wand. So here. Bring that a bit more backwards because it's in my way. So just make sure that you're not too close to the skin, because we don't want to burn our model or our bride. Sometimes it's so nice, like the dolly heads, they are a bit, like the hair is not nice to work on it, the mannequins, but you know, you can go really close on them, so that's nice. But then of course on your client you have to be careful. Especially around the ears where I'm now, so don't be an overachiever, don't go too close, better have a bit of space. So, yippoo. So we finished the setting here. And next step is I am trying to, like, I would now not open the front, or the last thing I said I'm not opening first, let's say it like this. So I always start actually opening the first sections I did. So it's better also when you do your upstyle, think where you're going to start, with your hair. So I would start in the nape area. So this is the first thing I can open. Then I go through the back. So you know, that's how I worked my way around the hair with the setting. I didn't start here in the front because I know this is going to be the last bit I'm going to do. This will be the first one. So that this just can cool down a little bit longer. I'll put this on the side. So, now, bobby pins. Now I want to show you. So this is like, you see you have this little opening here. And this is actually the amount of hair you should use for the bobby pin. You can open it a little bit, but sometimes it can slip out if we have too much hair into it. So really, like, actually it's not much hair. And where's the opening? We usually, like, it's more logical that you would go with the straight side on the surface, but it's actually the other way around to really grip it. Because you, like, the case is that you shouldn't open it, you just bring it in. And that means, and that means if this one is opening here, you know, you actually really can go into it. So yeah, that's the bottom bit. But to be honest, I'm not checking every bobby pin I'm using. So also I sometimes probably do it the other way around. And it's not a big problem at the end of the day. The only problem is when you have too much hair into it, that it just always slips out again, and that can be really annoying. So just make sure you don't have too much hair into it in your bobby pins, or so just open it as well. So how long did we take now for the setting? So because usually I would say always, you know, 50% of your upstyle should be setting and prepping, and 50% or like even more for prepping and setting. But I think because today I'm going to talk a little bit more, so I spend more time on the actually styling because I talk you through. But the general rule for me is, yeah, half of the time you definitely going to go for preparation. So the next thing, now you can see it's really bouncy, you know, you have here the crispiness at the ends, that's what we want. So I'm going to just brush it through. And don't be afraid, because if you have a good setting and a good preparation of the hair, the curl will stay or the wave will stay. So, you know, you don't have to be afraid, you can really brush it through. And now, next thing, I'm just going to curl it, so I'm not losing the curl, I curl it a little bit around my fingers, bring it up so it's not going to be in my way. Close it. So, here we go. Here we have the two strains. What I'm doing now is I am using a little bit of the body shake. So just because we want to create volume here, and it just has this beautiful powdery effect. So I'm going to use a bit of the body shake. Through. And now we're going to do our, and we create a bun here. So I'm going to just look down a little bit. Thank you. Put the hair out. Put it out a little bit so you can see better. So I'm going to do here now a quarter or like a crossing from bobby pins around my bun. And why I'm doing this, it's just when I use the bobby pin later, I actually can go in like so if you use a bobby pin later, you're actually going under and up. And this will give you a great hold. So that's why this is always great to just, you know, have a bit of a base. And then what we do next is a rope twist. Rope twist can be confusing, rope braid, but it is clockwise, clockwise, clockwise. You twist it, and then you twist it against the clock. I always sometimes say right, 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 and then right on top of the left. That also works. Right, 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 right on top of the left. Right, 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 right on top of the left. So, oops. This is how you go down. And if you do it the other way around, don't worry. The worst thing what happens is that it's going to be that it's just not holding. When it opens again, you know you went the wrong way, so you have to go the other way. So I think for each person it's different. So you can think of right, right, right on top of the left, or you can go clockwise, clockwise against the clock. So, and yeah, it's also a bit of a try and error. So what we're doing here is pinch and pulling, and this is just to create more volume. So always start on the top when you pinch and pull, and then you go down, because if you would start from the bottom, what happened is that you lose all the volume you just created. So always pinch from top first to the bottom. When you're happy with what you have, you just use a little hairband again. Close it. So, and then we just going, we bring it around to create already a little bun. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Like this doesn't have to look completely perfect because, so now I use around 4 bobby pins, I would say. So first I'm gonna go in here, bring it under my, my little crossing, what I did before. Go to the side, bring it under. So, and then you still can pull. So, and this is just the bottom part. So don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going to, it's the first layer of your little bun here. So next one is, so here with Joanna's hair, it's what I just see is that it's just so what I see here, it's still a little bit splitting here on the top. So to try to get this together, I'm just gonna tease it a little bit. So this is always the best if you have the feeling it splits. You're gonna tease it, and just on the roots. So teasing here, yeah, I just go through the roots because the ends, they don't really need a teasing, just to lift up the top a little bit. So, and now, ooh, so much hair. That's beautiful. So next product I use is the bead shake. And why do I use the bead shake? Here is because it has a bit of an waxy effect. So it's gonna look really sleek later, but it has a lot of shine. So that's what I want. So I just spray on top. Comb it. And as you can see, you know, I have my hair, my hand almost on oh, now I'm missing the words. I have it down where my bun is. I open it up and I comb it into there, so that it already gives you the right direction. Because if you comb it up here, you lose, you know, you lose all your you have lumps again, which you don't want. So you already place the hand where you actually want to create your next step. And so what are we doing is, I'm going to use a long bobby pin, and I want to create a twist here in the middle. So I'm going to go, now I open it a bit more just because her hair is so thick. So I'm going to go up from the bottom to the top. It's a bit like a French roll. And then I go from the top to the bottom. And now we're going to just twist it around. And I have these crossed bobby pins because next thing I'm going to do is I use a French pin or a V pin or a U pin or different names for that. And just bring it on the, I think it's good if you come to the right so you can see it. Thank you. And you can see my face as well. It's really close. Sorry. No, but I just want to show you this. What I'm doing here is I'm going to go on the outside. So I'm not going to, I just take a little bit of the hair here and I go under, and I'm trying to go under the bobby pin and go out around. So you're still trying to do the wave thingy. I know a lot of people, they're not really sure about these V pins. Another option is what you can do. You can create a hook. So hook meaning, but I'll show you in a moment. So now we just rolled it around. I'm gonna roll it, and then what I'm doing, I'm gonna pull again. And when you pull, just make sure you're not holding it too tight on the bottom, because otherwise you won't be able to pull anything. So you really loosen your hands here where you have it, and then you can pull it. Create more volume here. So I'm coming here. So now I'm using a hairband again. And what we're doing now here with this hairband is just creating a little hook, or a hook like a little U. So because then what I can do is I just can use my bobby pin and hook that a little bit. So that's actually great. I'm using the bobby pins. Under here. And then I have here this U, which is great because, no, I just bring it in. And so now sometimes you get a little bit of, if you're too close, you don't really have an idea anymore how it looks. So always, if you try to see shapes, step a little bit backwards to see what you actually do, because each angle, you think, oh, that looks absolutely amazing. And then you go a step back and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened here? It's totally out of balance. So always you try to create balance. And so sometimes good, step a little bit back to see what you do. Okay. Yeah, V-pin. Next thing I wanted to show you. Create a hook. It's like this one, and then you use them. But if you do that, tell your client that you did a little hook in there, because not that she is going to, otherwise she has problems when she takes it out at night, and you don't want her to rip her hair off. So just tell her she needs to be a bit careful because you hooked some pins into her hairstyle. So, as you can see already, thank you. So here, you have this more like a glam look now. So if I would just bring it back like that and leave some hair out, it would be a bit more glamorous. So, but just to challenge us today a little bit more, we do another rope twist. And this is one side, it's going to be easier than the other side, and this is the harder side. So I don't even know why I put the part on this side, because this is really confusing. Because so now what we're going to do, we're going to go right. No, I want to spray the hair a little bit again with the body shake. So here we use the body shake because I want to create texture. I want to go big. Comb it through. Another option would be you could crimp it, the hair, but the only thing is if you would crimp it, don't go too crazy with the crimping, because you don't want to see it really. So you go right, you twist it to the right, so you twist it to clockwise, and then against the clock. See. So, and then you take another layer of hair, you twist it clockwise, and then against the clock. So it's really just the first bit, which is super hard, but then it's going to be better. So you're still going to twist it with another layer of hair, clockwise, clockwise. Still keep this twisted, and then against the clock. Take another bit of layer of hair, clockwise, clockwise, against the clock. And another thing, always do it in the right direction. So you always give the direction where you want to go, because if you go downstairs you can't bring it backwards anymore. So always think of stand behind it, the best way, stand behind it in which direction you want to bring it, so you're not going to have any limbs and loops in there. And just leave a bit here. And then on the way, you also just can leave some hair out. That can look nice as well. And when you pull, just don't just pull with a purpose, like pull where you actually want to create volume, because if you just pull and pull, you also get out of the shape. So see where do you want to create the volume, and that's where you pull. And I always find it nice to get real into this boho, have a few hair out, and then, you know, at the end you still can curl them or set them how you want to, but I always would leave some curl out just to make it a bit softer. And you know, we go here for boho today, so so, and we do the same on the other side. Sorry, Sandra, I'm here on the way. So. Okay. So this side is easier. So you always have one side easier, you know, where you when you twist. So you again go clockwise, clockwise, clockwise against the clock. So I don't know why, but this just feels so much more natural to me. Then take some hair with you, clockwise, clockwise against the clock. Clockwise, clockwise against. Oh, no, I did it actually wrong. You see, I was too safe. I didn't think with it. So it's also a little bit of a brain. Clockwise against the clock. So, sorry. See what I'm doing here. So, and also here, you know, you just see, where do you want to leave some hair out? Okay, it was now a bit long, but that's okay. So also better when you leave some hair out, do it on the way, because otherwise, so on the way, I'm meaning by before I twist it, I leave some hair out here now, and then I go further. That always helps to don't really mess up your creation already. I'm just gonna go in here. So, and now it's really about looking at the shape and just pulling where you think it needs a little bit more volume, so that it's all into place. If you see, So here we're going to see a bobby pin. I'm just going. Oh no, I don't want to see it. So next thing, what I think looks really nice to make it a bit more interesting, is I'm just going to pull on some strands, just that it's not just flat, so you get a bit more dimension on it. And important here is as well, you pull where you actually want that it lifts. Don't just pull, pull with purpose. So that's not the right one. I always have to check. This is the waxy one is really good for that, because you know you really can go into it and give it a good, nice finish. So as you see, you know, I lift it and I really like smooth it with my fingers to create a little bit more height. So yeah, now the end is going around, looking, okay, where does it need to go a bit more out? Then you use a V-pin or bobby pin, whatever you work better with, and you just pull. Ah yeah, and if you really want to lift it all, I always go with my tail comb into it and I lift it all. So you really can, you know, take it out. So now I just took all of that out a little bit. So. And
another question
from
Duncan. Do you have your clients stand up to do a final check before finishing?
Yes, always a great idea. Let them stand up, because especially also in the nape area, maybe sometimes you need to fix a little bit more, and that's something you see where they actually take off the gown and you look, you see the whole result. Yeah, always do that. So. And here I just go again with the curling iron, just to give it a little bit of a finish. And then last but not least, when you're happy with everything, what you're doing is you are going to use the Joy Mist and just give it the last finish, a little bit of hairspray, just let it last. And so you can use Joy Mist Firm, Joy Mist Medium. I go with the medium today. Yeah, because China doesn't really has a wedding. Otherwise, otherwise, yeah, of course, go for the stronger one. And yeah, maybe you can stand up for me. Thank you. And just can come around the chair and just so you just look up a little bit. So yeah. And here with this little hair, sometimes I'm just going to use a little bobby pin only. You see, and now you can see, for example, here you can see this little bobby pin. So, you know, that's things you just see actually when you see it, when she stands up and you have a different angle of it. But yeah, just gonna turn around, right? And then just around it the other way. Yeah. Cool. So this is the Gypsy Goddess upstyle. So yeah, I hope you had fun and you enjoyed it. And we are back in 2 weeks, and then we're gonna do a ponytail. So really looking forward to that. And yeah, thank you very much. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.